discussion now, and for which I would like to welcome on stage Dr. C.A. Achyut Dani, Director General and Provost of JG University. Can we have a round of applause for Dr. Dani? And Dr. Dani will be moderating the next discussion, and I'll hand it.
Thank you, Dharmesh. As we are heading towards the last part of this conference, and we have a panel discussion on a topic which is exploring trends in upskilling and emerging trends, redefining today's employability paradigm. So when we are looking at this, I would like to invite some dignitaries on the dais who will be participating in this panel discussion. So can we have Pankaj Mistry sir, who is the Chief Skill Coordinator, Kaushalya State University. Next is Dr. Saurin Shah sir, who is the Vice Chancellor with Silver of University. Sunil Bulchandani sir, Head of Human Resources, Karnavati Automotive Group. Parmeshwar Hans sir, who is the Senior GM HR Anil Pharmaceuticals. Then Professor Dr. Avani Umatt, she is the Provost with TeamLease University, Baroda. Professor Dr. Dharmesh, Provost, Indrashil University. Dr. Amit Ganatra, sir, Provost, Parul University. Dr. Anil M. Bisen, Provost, ITM Vocational University. And Ushakiran, Head Partnership, PwC. So we have our esteemed panelists on the dais now, and I would like to give an opening remark on this particular topic, and then I would request each of the panel members to give their initial thoughts on the topic, which can definitely be later on be a subject matter of our panel discussion. So when we say exploring trends in upskilling and emerging trends, redefining today's employability paradigm, we need to understand that skills are essential and we have been acquiring skills, but they are becoming obsolete at an unprecedented rate. So we need to understand that skills are important, we have been acquiring it, but there is a problem, and that problem is due to the new advancements, technological changes. What is happening is the obsoleteness of the skills which we have acquired, it is happening at a very fast rate. So there is one thing, one challenge which we are trying to address today. Another thing is the role of technology, the important role of technology in shaping the employability. When we talk about employability now, technology can no longer be treated as a segregated item, whereas we have to look at the technology as an asset for any skill acquisition. That is what is happening. And technology and the people who are really skilled have proved that sometimes institutions are not as big as individuals heading it. We have a recent example of Sam Altman from OpenAI, when he was initially fired and then the code was changed and he was reinstated. So that was skill, nothing else. So technology is coming up a big way. So what would be the role of technology in upskilling? That is the second issue I would love our panel to have a deliberation upon. Again, what do we understand by the word skill? So even the definition of skill is changing. Mathematics, knowing mathematics and physics well, or being able to understand complex arithmetical issues, what a skill at a point of time. Today, the nature of skill has changed from hard skills to soft skills to communication to creative thinking. Things are changing. So the third challenge which we are facing is defining what are the skill sets, and in the current scenario, what skill sets are required and how they can be obtained. The fourth and the most talked about issue in relation to upskilling is again the academia and industry coordination and collaboration, that how we can bring them together and which kind of skills are required and who would be primarily responsible for doing it. Whether it is industry to take initiative or whether it is academicians who should take initiative. And last but not the least, that inclusivity is very important. So inclusivity must remain at the forefront. Upskilling opportunities must be available to everyone at every point of time. This is in respect of one thing, that we say there is stay in India, right? But we do not stay in India, I'll be honest with you. India has two faces. It is India, which is urban, and it is Bharat, which is rural. So when we talk about skills, we need to look at our country into two parts. There is an India and there is Bharat. And how these skills will work upon and how we can work upon the
Good evening to everyone. When we talk about skill, and if you see the overall scenario, like all the students are not lacking in all kind of skills. So somebody who is good in technical skill may be lacking in soft skill, interpersonal skill, life skill. So it's a patient-doctor kind of thing. When we consider from a teacher perspective, we have witnessed and we have seen that the specific lacking skill which need to be installed among the students. So appropriately the training needs to be imparted. Regarding technological skill, you see again ICT branch and non-ICT branch. Again from ICT branch perspective, you see that technical and technological skills are always going to be there. But of course for non-ICT branches, again these subjects like IoT, cloud computing, blockchain, AI, ML, data analytics, which is required to be installed. And that is the second perspective. Third is like the issues, if you see that students are hired for their knowledge, talent, skill, but they are fired for their attitude, behavior. So their aptitude, their behavior, like you see that these students nowadays, they have become impatient. They are so much of sentimental. Correct. So all that issues like loyalty is a question. About what we all face is like retention probability, which is going down day by day. So all these issues, like our families are divided, we all live in a nuclear family. So certain values which we previously used to install from our grandparents, parents, which are not installed from parents, grandparents, because they all are living separately. Again, school teachers are not doing that. So ultimately that responsibility comes to the university.
Correct.
And now the word is deployable instead of employable, where industry is demanding that no additional training is required. From day one, students should become a resource person and start contributing to the project. So a lot of expectations are there on the shoulders of all academicians and university. And of course, without the help and support of university and academia, it is not going to be possible.
Correct. Very nicely portrayed and correctly said. I would request Saurin sir to give his opening remark.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good evening to one and all present here. While the topic was given to us, I thought of referring to certain surveys which were done, and I would like to bring into note of the experts here that we had an opportunity to host an expert session from AICT. The gentleman was from Geo Institute, Mumbai, and he was all the time talking about the skills which are going to remain into the market for next 10 years. Okay. So most of my comments will be based on the input shared by this gentleman, and this has come from very authentic survey, the survey called Future Job Report 2023.
Correct.
World Economic Report.
Yes.
And most of us, I think, the whole conclave is revolving around, and if you are seriously talking about this, is revolving around how to identify those skills and inculcate those skills typically by the university system so that tomorrow they become employable, skilled workforce.
Correct.
In that context, if I talk, in my personal capacity and opinion, I think university and industry both are equally responsible. Somehow there is a perspective that universities are always expected to deliver up to industry expectation. But it's on the contrary, that industry should also communicate with university. They should go hand to hand and let university be hand-holded to come to the next level so that the workforce which is coming out from university is really industry ready. Otherwise, it is only the industry which is going to suffer. So I have certain good practices which are followed by my universities, especially Silver Oak, which I'll be sharing little later.
Definitely.
And I'll be talking more on this kind of skills which are required in next 10 years.
That would make it more interesting, sir. Thank you so much. Can I request Anil Bisen, sir, to give his remark on the same? Sir, here's the mic.
Thank you, Dr. Dani, for inviting me over here for this opening remark. As it is Industry 4.0 and redefining the education to ensure the employability skill workforce. Being a vocational university and a skill university, the last 3 years, my experience is something different.
Okay.
It's like it completely industry-oriented university. We have about 100 plus industry partner, and we are very much close relation with the industry, where we are trying to upskills our workforce or the students who are there as far as their demands. So as an educationist, where the curriculum should be flexible in order to adopt the demand of the industry. So we have developed that, and we are taken into the board. So whatever the requirement is, just example, I'm quoting like BTech into the 4-year programs. So in the previous to that last year, the last semester, that 7th semester you can say, we have the skill set. So where the student don't have to perform write any question paper or something like that. So we have find it out about 15 skill set into every branch, and as far as the demand from the industry partners, this is to be aligned with that, and we are taking the training for them, giving the training complete set, and we are calling for the evaluation process. And finally, the next will be the going to the industry for internship. So that gives a very good interaction with the industry, and then we are producing the student as far as their demand. So we have a very good experience. So rather than as an academician, I will suggest to go for changing the flexible curriculum, and that is also the demand for the new education policy also.
So the flexible curriculum, which is aligned with the industry requirements, is what you are focusing on, and that can really help solve this problem of upskilling. That is what we are looking at. Perfect, sir. Taken a note of. Can I now request Pankaj Mistry, sir, Chief Skill Coordinator from Kaushalya Skill University, to give an opening remark?
We are into the industry 4.0 era, and in this scenario, where product life cycle is very small, I'll say automation, then all latest technology like AI, ML, whether we like or not, it is going to be there, and we will have to work with that. That imposes us other kind of challenges of reskilling and upskilling, because this will be AI, ML, that will disrupt the whole scenario.
Correct.
It will be compulsory for us and for us as an academician also, and as a industry also, to reskill and upskill the existing workforce to make them aligned to the requirement of the industry. So that is going to be the one challenge. Another challenge I would say to address the mismatch between the what is the opportunity available in the market and the manpower which is ready to join the jobs. I will say particularly the sector of say construction industry, it offers a very huge employment opportunities to candidates. But how many candidates are willing to join that course? That is again a challenge. So though there is a ample employment opportunities available, and it has got a good career prospectus also, but there are less candidates willing to join that sector, particularly at the middle and lower level of the segments. Third, in the morning session, my industry friends, they were also telling me, even at the engineering graduate level also, for some of the jobs, like particularly in the shop floors or at the hardcore engineering jobs, though people are trained, say, in the mechanical engineering or automobile engineering, their preference is to go for a softer kind of a job.
Correct.
Rather than working on the shop floor.
That has been the trend. Yes, yes. So maybe when there are no job takers, or when people are not very willing to take up a particular employment, there is a need of creating little more awareness about what it holds for them and what kind of opportunities are available. Right.
Probably it it gives us a challenge also. It's a challenge for us also to realign our approach to address the requirement, because industries need the manpower. Construction industries, they have a requirement. So it is industry and academia, they have to think how to address that requirement. And on the other side, there is a candidate seeking jobs. So we can align that.
Yes. It is more like a matching. So we have to see that we can make them and try to see that the skills which they have acquired can be converted into employment. Correct. Now, can I request the only lady on the dais, Professor Dr. Avani Umatt, to give her opening remark?
Very good evening to one and all. Thank you, Dr. Dani, and thank you to the organizers for this wonderful conclave, where at the end of the conclave, after so many learned speakers have spoken, and we're the last to speak after a lot of what we probably feel and endorse has already been said. So without trying to repeat too much, but to make it relevant, I think right now when you talk about upskilling, when you talk about reskilling, the one very word that needs to be looked upon is making things aspirational. Not only aspirational for the student, aspirational for the facilitator, who may be a trainer, maybe a faculty, maybe a higher education institute, or even maybe the industry who is going to be taking in the outcome of what is being given out by a university. Because the job requirement is so dynamic because of the rapid change in technology or job roles. So what we really feel and what we've been doing at TeamLease Skills University is understanding that the percentage of jobs that are going to be redundant in the next couple of years with this advent or the space at which technology is taking over is going to create a lot of job roles that will be redundant, but on the flip side, there are going to be a higher percentage of new jobs that are going to be created. Now, how does that become aspirational if there is no awareness, right? There's no awareness, there's no foresight, not only for the candidate, but also for the facilitator.
Correct.
So what you need to look into when you're talking about upskilling is not only of the workforce, but also of the faculty members or the facilitators, and look at this whole process of creating lifelong learners for the workforce and lifelong learners in the faculty members itself, because not only have the job roles changed, but the number of youth that is going to enter the workforce every year is increasing because of the young age or the number of youth that will be entering the workforce every year, and also for the longevity that they're going to stay in the workforce.
Correct.
Because scientists have said that the people who are going to live to be 100 are already in nursery right now. So their work life is going to be, they're going to be working actively, say until the age of 80, 85, against what we consider as 60, 65 today. So what you have to be looking into is you have to make it aspirational for the entire generation. It's not something that is going to happen that you, and the days of where you've taken one degree, you've learned it, you've got into a job and you're done with your learning.
That's gone. That's gone.
You have to be, and you have to make this aspirational in the candidates from a younger age.
Very aptly put, ma'am.
A lot of times candidates take admission in programs because of the aspirational value of the name of the degree without understanding what job roles it would lead to, and then when they come for placement, they says, "Nahi, mujhe ye nahi karna hai. This is not what I had thought my life is going to pan out to be." So I think a lot of awareness, constant awareness from the K-12 to the higher education or to the outlet into the industry has to be addressed in terms of both technology and the changing job roles. What we do, how we do it, I think I'll take up a little later.
Perfect, ma'am. Very, very correctly and aptly put through, ma'am. Can I request Dharmesh Shah, sir, Provost of Indrashil University, to give his opening remark?
Thank you, Achyut, and good evening to all. I think since morning, we all are talking about skill requirement for employability in the industry.
Correct.
Is a university faculty is not required, do not require any skills. we never talked about. See, it's important that person who is preparing a manpower for an industry needs to be exposed properly to that need. So probably the immediate skill requirement, the part that we as a higher education institute has to look at is the faculty skilling, upskilling actually, and then again for them unlearning is more important.
Correct.
They are trained from the decades or Ragukul Veed chali aayi jaisa hai. So probably we need to first understand that how we do unlearning with ourselves. Then another issue that we have is again a chicken and egg kind of a problem. Industry and institute both are looking at each other. Who will start first? And both have their own requirements. Industry says, okay, we are looking for these kind of manpower from a higher education institute. But at the same time, they have their own limitations. Institutes are waiting for industry to come to them and support for the facility accreditation or syllabus and everything. But unless we take either of that take a step forward, things are not going to be easy.
Correct.
Right? So probably at my university, what we have started doing is that we have started sending our faculty members to industry.
Very nice.
See what kind of requirement they have and try to have our syllabus. Because again, when as a faculty, we are again rigid when we are training our syllabus. We don't keep any open days. Our 100% syllabus is fixed on the day of BOS meeting happens. And then we do it. So if we can give a 20-30% openness in our syllabus, which can be changed on a runtime, then probably immediate needs of the industry
can be addressed. Yes, yes.
And this can also be addressed for the research point of view, which is community oriented. Right? So probably I like it. We want win-win situation for all. But nobody wants to take a toss on their side to make a win for others. So other things I think I'll take it up.
Sure, sir. That was very aptly put. And can I request Sunil Bulchandani, sir, who is the head of human resources at Karnavati Automotive Group. And maybe I can request Sunil, sir, to, you have heard all of us, right? You have heard the academicians. So I would love that your opening remark may address any of the issues which are related to the industry.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come here today. I would like to add on, all the industry experts are sitting here in fact. But I would agree with the sir which was spoken about actually. So industry exposure for the students are must. And
yes.
Faculty also, the faculty members, what I've seen in the universities actually. Actually, I worked in one of the universities earlier. In fact, so during that tenure, what I saw, faculties which were hired, they have never worked in the industry. The biggest challenge for the person who is teaching the students, they themselves have not worked for the industry. So rightly said.
That is a fact across most universities and faculty members. We must admit that, because until and unless we admit this, we will not be able to improve.
So that is a very valid point which Dharmesh sir has talked about. Every industry person who is teaching, they should be having some kind of exposure in the industry itself. I'll give you a simple example. Like I've heard so many people. Again, if we talk about the upskilling is required for throughout the life. It's not only a particular stage or a juncture which a person has to reach. Upskilling is required throughout your life actually. If I talk about me as a HR, during initial years of my job, like the recruitment was done through references or the newspapers or something like that. And if you see right now, the entire scenario has changed. Like with the job portals coming in, the social media coming in actually. If you see the most of the openings which have been, like earlier you used to spend a lot of money to recruit a person. Now
Correct.
It's become very easy to reach out to the entire India with a if you put your job on LinkedIn.
Correct.
If you put your job on the Facebook or the group jobs actually. So as a HR also we have to upgrade ourselves. So what I've understood, skill upgrading is required till the time you're working.
Correct.
It's not about the starting of your career, till the end of your career it's been required.
Correct.
And I just have been seeing since last 20 years, like every university is teaching. I'll give you a simple example. IIM Ahmedabad, people are like 2 lakh students are sitting to get into IIM Ahmedabad every year. And almost like 1,500 students are getting into IIMs, the top 3-4 IIMs.
Correct.
And at the university level, what I've seen, there's no course which is helping students to deal with failures. Because most of people, if you see in today's scenario, people who are coming out, especially the engineering students, they're not getting the good jobs actually in the automobile sector also, the required sectors. So somewhere or the other, the skill set is required, which we need to look into and it could be done with win-win situation only. It cannot be done alone by the industry. It cannot be done alone by the university as well. So what I understood, skill set upgrading is very much required, but it could be a joint venture between the industry and the university.
And that too on a continuous basis.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still the lifelong person has to work on it.
Correct, correct, correct. Thank you so much, sir. And can I now request Parmeshwar Hans, sir? He is the Senior General Manager HR from one of the very well-known pharmaceutical companies, Anil Pharmaceuticals. Sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Dani. My name is Parmeshwar. I am from Anil HR. So we have got the direction now by all the panelists here. You asked 4 or 5 things, but
yes, sir.
Most of us are now talking into one particular direction. And that is like, if I see on the left side of mine, there is a well, right? And the right side of mine, there is a thirsty person, right? And then well is waiting that thirsty person should come to him, right? But what thirsty person is doing is digging up one more well, and there is one more thirsty person near this well, you know. So this party has got thirst also and has got some other water which they cannot drink.
Correct.
So industry has got thirst also of having you know, good talented students, and students where they are like academia has got the thirst of having industries with them. So that needs to be bridged basically. So the second part now I would touch upon is that what you said is the urban India and the rural Bharat.
Absolutely, sir.
So there this is where I see the real opportunity that we have to bridge between the thirst and the, you know, the water. So in Bharat we have got lot many, you know, potential students. The skill needs to be, you know, they need to be reskilled, they need to be upskilled, and they need to be really given training where TeamLease, Indrashil and all these, you know, very good institutes and universities really help, because now we are reaching to rural India also. And the other end, we have got so many industries, and now I see, like I worked in Reliance, I worked in some other good companies where they have got their own full-fledged training institutes.
Correct.
You know, so it is not that university will only train the students and will give the ready-made material, you know, to be consumed. But we will, you know, get the students in, train them to our requirement. And now this fashion, this trend is little changing, you know. So what I see when you, the third point you talked about obsolete skills and upcoming skills, you know. So in Amnil we have some logbooks, manual logbooks and BMRs, which are now getting converted into e-logbooks and e-BMR. So everything is electronic, you know, we are making it digital.
Correct.
So some skill has got obsolete and some new skill is coming. Same thing has to happen in the academia also. You know, we used to study trade unions, labor unions. That is obsolete, more or less, you know. New things have to come, like AI, you know,
cybercrime,
some other things.
Cybercrime.
Yeah. These also, it's not only industry where skills will be obsolete. It is the academia also where the syllabus is getting obsolete. So I remember something, when you have got 10 subjects, one subject should be no subject. There are 9 subjects in the syllabus, and one thing is blank where it should be filled by the industry. Okay, you are Amnil, I have got 100 students, I have got 2 classes, I have got these 9 subjects, 10th subject you tell us. We will incorporate that in our syllabus. So those kind of arrangements, we may come up with these kind of solutions where, you know, we have good tie-up with the industry and we can fill that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very correctly said, sir, because industry's input would matter a lot to the academicians to decide about what skills are required to be imparted. We have one more person with us here who is the head partnership with PW Skill, Shri Ushakiran sir. So I would like him to give his opening understanding on whatever we have been discussing.
So first of all, thank you very much for this opportunity, and it's great to sit with great minds in this panel discussion. So almost like a lot of points are covered here, and I just want to add, right? So when we look at technology evaluation, right? So technology is evolving so fastly, even than our Netflix series, right? So it is evolving so fastly, and I recommend institutes, higher educational institutes and universities, right? So to integrate even robust technology, to have a personalized learning, right? So that is something which is very important for students. When I used to interact with students in different engineering colleges, right? So every student have their own style of learning, and skills like Industry 4.0, technologies like Industry 4.0. So they really need personalized learning. So that is what we feel as a team, and they need hands-on experience on different technologies, which is right now is not available in a lot of universities or like colleges or institutes, right? And when we talk about urban India and rural Bharat, right? So yes, the urban side have much more advanced tools, so compared to the rural side, right? And that's where there is some gap in the rural Bharat, right? So where I have seen people, students hesitating to sit in the placements in spite of having proper skills, right? So they hesitate to even sit in the placements. This is the biggest challenge in few colleges. Recently I visited Odisha, and the same institute is there in rural part, somewhere in Rayagada, and the same institute is there in Bhubaneswar. So Bhubaneswar, the students from Bhubaneswar are fast forwarded, right, comparative to the Rayagada, right? And one difference is faculties are again the same, right? So the same curriculum, the same faculties, right? So there is some gap there, right? So might be that is something where we need to address as an institutes, or we need to give them the opportunity or platform, right? So technology should be integrated to be taken very solid in every part of India. Right? And second important thing is skills. So when we talk about skills, so technology like data science, we generally look at data science, right? So when I talk about data science, there are a lot of analytical skills which are involved in this, right? So when we talk about skills, so we are forgetting the base of the skills, right? So which we get it from K10 Foundation, right? So it's all about like holistic development, holistic skills which students should be given a platform during their K10 itself, right? So analytical skills plays a major role in data science industry. So in data science, when we learn data science technology, the first prerequisite is analytical skills, right? Correct. So that is something which is very important. We need to have very strong base. So we need to address that strong base. When Industry 4.0 is addressed, so always we are addressing the higher education. So somewhere like we also need to focus more on base of the education as well. And second, two of panelists, so they discussed on faculty skills, right? So recently I read Infosys CEO Narayana Murthy's article, right, where he was saying faculty should be high paid, right, which is right now the biggest challenge in universities, because when I interact with faculties, they come up with a lot of depression key, like we are less paid, and even they request me as a data science speaker. When I approach the colleges, they come to me, they say that is there any option for me to flip to industry, right? So this is happening right now, right? So even they are trying to get into industry, right? So this faculty should be high paid, and I strongly agree with this point. So when we pay them high, then definitely they will be sticking to the industry, and they will have the thirst to teach these technologies which industry is required. So they will be molding themselves, and they will be shaping the upcoming industry professionals, right? And yes, so industry's expectations. One of our panelists is also discussing on the industry expectation. Right now, industries are expecting a candidate, right? So to perform within 15 days of their joining. Even this is happening in PW as well, right? In even physics wala. So we expect if someone joins the team, we expect them to perform immediately within 15 days, right?
So you need a deployable resource, right?
Yes, exactly. So as you said, yes. So even a fresher, he or she should join immediately, like within 15 days, we start expecting some other things like that. Right? So output should be there. So this is one point like where we can have a very good discussion. Right? Rest will be.
Yeah, let us see. So thank you so much. I mean, the opening remark had a lot of things to say, and I think there are few things which have come out of the opening remarks which have come from the academicians as well as the industry people. But say as it is required, let me tell you this, that we run most of the universities run many traditional programs, like we run BBA programs, BCom programs, BSc programs, BE programs, right? So what happens is that we can look at the curriculum of the program and we can make these traditional courses also very effective. Like at a university, for example, JG University, what we have done is, let it be a BCom program or a BBA program, what we have done is, in the very first semester as well as the second semester, we have kept one full paper where they learn office automation. So most of you will agree that Excel is one of the finest software ever, which has been into use. I mean, it is fantastic. If you know how to use Excel properly, I mean, you are halfway a data analyst if you know how to use Excel properly. So what we have done is, we have created a 3-credit paper in SEM 1 and 3-credit paper in SEM 2, so that whosoever is studying their UG program, by the end of the first year, if they take exit as a diploma student, right, they will at least have a skill which will make them little more employable as compared to anybody else. So small and little steps like this from the academicians or academic industry would definitely help in upskilling as well as generating more employment. So this is another thing which I always wanted, that we all as an academician should look into various opportunities where we can upskill them at our own level. Due to the new education policy which we have, and being a state private university, we enjoy a little more freedom, little more autonomy in designing the curriculum, in employing people, getting in touch with the industry and bringing more resources to them. So that can be channelized in the correct way. And that was very evident from all the discussion which has come from the esteemed panel members. So I think my first issue, which was in relation to the skills becoming obsolete and we have to keep upskilling continuously, has been addressed. The second issue was in relation to the role of technology in shaping the employment. So, this automation or artificial intelligence or digitization, so they are not the buzzwords now. It is not so that we just talk about it. They are actually in action. We use OpenAI. Even today when I was supposed to look at this particular panel discussion, I opened ChatGPT, I put in the topic and it gave me a list of 6-7 things which I should look into. Right? So artificial intelligence is here to stay. It is going to be a part and parcel of our life very soon, and it would play a very pivotal and a big role. Now, how to put this technology to upskill is another question. And on this particular technology aspect, if any of the panelists has something to say, I would invite any of you to take it up and please elaborate it a little to the audience we have. Amit sir wants to say it, and then we also have Pankaj Mistry sir who wants to share some.
There is always a prerequisite, okay? You cannot directly jump into AI machine learning without having
Correct.
a proper background. So
yes.
Right now you see that we as a diverse university offering 270 plus different program at Parul University, 39 institute, everywhere we are offering AI, data analytics. But you must have certain statistical, advanced mathematical background prior to going for that kind of courses. So most important part is when you think about technology or such kind of courses to be offered, of course the background need to be created and the prerequisite need to be first seen, and then those kind of prerequisite means online courses are to be enrolled. They must acquire the proper knowledge and skill, and then if you teach these courses, then it is going to be relevant.
Correct, correct. So maybe, a bridge program kind of thing might help them a little, so that people, I recently read in the newspaper that a student who has done his 12th with mathematics can appear for a biology paper and can also enroll himself for the medical profession, MBBS, right? So things are changing, and I suppose the new education policy is on its correct way of implementation. Yes, one Mistry sir, please.
Yes, as we know, drone technology is emerging and it provides a very ample opportunities for the employment as well as the self-employment. At the KSU, probably this is the only university which offers courses which addresses the requirement of whole drone value chain. Kaushalya State University is the only university having a DGC approved RPDO status. When we got the RPDO, we faced a lot of challenges also, right from the DGC portal to the acquiring the type certified drones, getting a master trainer. So that were the challenges, but we were successful in getting the RPDO. We have trained more than 300 pilots also for that. Then the second one is getting the type certified drone was a challenge. So we took that as a challenge as well as the opportunity also. We went for the our own type design. We got our type design. We are at the final stage of getting our type design approved. and we will be having we established our own manufacturing facilities at the university.
That is fantastic.
With the help of leading industries.
Correct.
And we will be manufacturing our own drones, and simultaneously with the same manufacturing facilities, we will be offering the two programs. One is the postgraduate program in drone manufacturing and programming, and another is the MSc program in the same drone manufacturing and programming, along with the manufacturing of the drones. Simultaneously, we are offering startup supports and research, and even one semester is in the one semester few credits are given for preparing their own documentation for getting the type certification or any new drone application, so that innovation can also be promoted.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic.
And apart from that, we are offering drone application courses also for the 9 to 10 sectors which are having prominent agriculture, logistics, then rescue operation, forest. So 10 kind of drone application courses are also being offered.
Correct, sir. Thank you. Anybody else? We have 3 more people. So we'll start with Dharmesh bhai or Avani ma'am, whosoever, please. And we'll keep it little crisp because there are 2 more questions to be addressed, and I think we'll run short of time.
As far as usage of technology with the skill, what I understand is that all digital transformations today available can be utilized for upgradation of skill of faculty and other manpowers. But at the same time, we also have to look at the need, because when we started with the inclusivity.
That is the 5th thing which we were discussing. So maybe you can address inclusivity along with this.
Yes. See, what is happening today is that take a BCom course.
Okay.
A BCom course offered by all the universities is standard. They teach accounting. This is something is a contract and legal contract and everything, right? But when it comes to the rural India, rural Bharat, say, right, their needs, they are not aware about whether this document is correct or a fraud. But we don't keep them separately with their own needs. What is happening is that these graduates are interested to come back to the urban India, and they don't want to go back to the rural Bharat. Right? So if our syllabus contents are being mapped in a way that it also looks at the need of the rural Bharat, then probably we'll be able to make a better country for everyone.
Very correct.
Whether
Very correct.
it is a course in commerce, law also like
any discipline. I believe what you said is all pervasive. Any discipline we talk about, we need to distinguish between the 2 segments. Correct.
Then if you use the digital transformation or hybrid technology today, which is available at a lower bandwidth also, to make sure this technology and the this skill is available to the rural part.
Right.
To be more inclusive as well as to be able to utilize it better for the employment.
Right. Dharmesh bhai, thank you so much. You have included and you have answered inclusivity question very nicely, because inclusivity is something which needs to be addressed on immediate basis, because as the technology is changing, we are moving very fast. As sir also pointed out, that product life cycle has become shorter, so innovations have become faster. So this gap must be bridged at the earliest opportunity. Thank you so much, sir. Avani ma'am.
I just want to add in 1 or 2 sentences that while technology is an integral part of what is happening in the industry, as well has entered the university or the higher education system, what needs to also be taught along with technology is the cognitive skills, which include creative thinking, which include analytical thinking, which tell candidates to know what technology should be used, what should not be used, where it can be used. I think what is very important is to also develop the personality of a candidate to understand these things, which has to be mandatory for all programs, all levels of higher education.
Very correct. Very correct. And this was also one of the points which we were discussing, that how do we define the skill? That was one of the points which I initially coined, that how do we define the skill? So whether we call it a hard skill, we call it a soft skill, we call it critical thinking, we call it analytical abilities. But along with all those things, morality, ethics, and the basic understanding about do's and don'ts are equally important. And maybe because as we know this in new education policy also, we know there is a subject which has been introduced, which is IKS, right? Indian Knowledge System. So the main purpose underlying putting in the IKS is also to bring in the understanding about what our history was, what our past was, what kind of moral values and ethics we need to inculcate in ourselves as also the learners. So that is also another point which we have addressed very nicely here. Thank you so much, ma'am. Anil sir, you wanted to say something?
See, when we are talking about the technology, especially the demand of the industry onto the recent technology is very high. And as far as the university or higher education is concerned, we don't have a teacher to teach that particular technology, or maybe not up to that level, as already my colleagues has addressed onto that faculty side also. So what is the solution in that? So digitally there are a lot of courses are available. So we have to address this faculty that we should go and learn and keep learning and adjust onto that particular industry. One of the best example I will quote, we have a tie-up with the Lupin in the last year, and we have the MSc students. So how we get that? So faculties we are sending continuously to the industry, and then as far as their demand, we have made that particular program, and the technology which they are using, now we are using. And their persons also comes to the university to their students. So
correct.
Especially in that way, we can have a collaborative win-to-win situation for both the industry as well as the institute. And then what are the requirement of the industry, then we have to upgrade as far as the technology side. And then we can very easily deliver this particular task.
So the continuous collaboration and dialogue between the industry and academia is essential. And when we talk about chicken and egg scenario, so let us see that we take the initiative and let the industry respond. And we have industry representatives also on the panel. So my next question is to the people who are from industry, that what is your expectations? What are your expectations from the higher education institutions when it comes to hiring the students who have recently completed their UG program or PG programs, and they are coming to you, they are freshers, they might have done a little internship somewhere. So what are the skill sets you immediately look for? So sometimes somebody asked me, I've been employing, being a DG and the Provost at a university, I definitely conduct interviews at the last level of the candidate. So somebody asked me that, sir, how do you select a candidate? I said, I look at the candidate first, I check his background, and I check whether is he a correct human being to come and settle in the culture which I want to create. Will he align with the goal, vision and mission of my university? Would he align with the thought processes which I am creating? If yes, and even though he is not that skilled, I will employ him, work upon him, and will try to see that he achieves what he is destined to be. So that's the way how we look at it. This is my opinion, right, sir? I would love to know it from all the industry people, right? I will consider you to be an industry guy also, right? Yeah. Sir, yes, please.
Yeah. So I think you only gave the answer. You gave the answer of your question.
So this is very personal, sir. Maybe if it is universal, I do not know, but this is my feeling.
Answer, actually. See, initially, there were the times where we were actually looking for the skills, right? Industry was looking for the skills. Now, so much has happened in this academia and education industry. So much has happened. So many skills, updated skills, knowledge, syllabus is available now. And now what is lacking is attitude.
Correct.
So what Madam Avani just spoke about is that you said about technology. I am saying that people are having good technical skills, but now is required is their mental preparedness to stay back in the industry. You know, on 1st of October 23, 2 months back, we had a walk-in drive exclusively for females. You know, you're talking about inclusion and diversity.
Yes, sir.
Only females, we had walk-in drive, and 1400 females appeared. You know, and 370 have been shortlisted, and they are about to join 100 of them. 40 of them have already joined. They are from ITIs. 18 of them have dropped out. They are saying now this distance is very long. If this friend will not be on this plant, I will not be at this plant.
My goodness.
So these kind of, mental preparedness is the skill now which is required. You know, that attitude, Avani, you talked about. Who will, you are giving them all, the fitter is available, HPLC skills are available. So many skills ITIs have been imparting, but then they are not ready. And once, I have got B.Pharms, BScs, MScs. Within 1 year, they will change the job for, 20,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees. So now that becomes the hot challenge for any industry. Like you will hire the right people with these skills, but then you will not be able to retain them only for 50,000 bucks. So now again, with the chicken and egg, skills are there, then attitude and aptitude is also required.
So something which we should look into and we should start working upon, right? So maybe I would also see, if I do not know whether we have stakeholders from the higher high school level or school levels too, but I think that should start little early. They should start building it, because primarily the job of the school is to see that child gets into a good higher education institution, and job of the higher education institution should be that the learner should go to the industry, gets employment, seamless entry. So either you are seamlessly entering the industry or otherwise you are self-employed. So that's what you are saying, and maybe we all should look at it and we may try to work upon it also.
Thank you. In fact, Parul University people are here, and
Amit Bhai is there.
Yeah. So I used to tell this very good friend of mine, Amit Shah. I told him, I need students, but there is a rider. I need needy students.
Very correct.
Those who are needy,
we do that.
Stay with me for 2 years, 3 years. If there is a small skill which is lacking, we will fulfill that gap. But we need somebody to stay with us.
Correct. Thank you, sir. Sir, Sunil ji, anything from you?
I would just like to add upon, actually, I am in a strong opinion, like psychologically, students should be mentally prepared. Like if you enter a company, you should at least stay back for 2 or 3 years. Because what is the challenge currently, like what rightly said by my friend, people come, we are not hiring freshers nowadays because of this reason only. People come, they get trained, they work with us for 6 months, a year, and they move on.
So you may employ some freshers, consider it to be a CSR.
But I'm in a strong opinion, like psychologically, students should be trained basically.
Correct.
Wherever you're starting your career, actually you should stay back for, this should be a psychologically impact which should be taught at the universities.
Sir, point taken. Absolutely.
Because otherwise, like that is the only reason right now why the challenge is between the industry and the university, because people say industry is not employing the freshers nowadays.
Correct.
They are looking for a skill set, they are looking for an experience.
I love the word deployable.
That is the reason I'm just adding upon.
Maybe, but you can look at these kind of students, those who are little more needy, and so maybe the rural area, the Bharat might be the source. Maybe we might try and hunt people from there, because I think they are the one who are striving to do better in their life, right? So they always dream of going from rural area to urban area. The primary purpose is to have a better quality of a life or a better monetary incomes. So maybe that is one area where we can work, and collectively if we all work, we may be able to solve it a little over maybe a decade, but it might be impactful. Thank you so much, sir. And Ushakiran ji.
So as rightly said, attitude is something which is a concern everywhere, even at entry level and even after entering into the industry, right? And as an industry, right, so as a startup, this is era of startups, right? So we need someone who have that adaptability and capability of upgrading, right? So because industry is dynamic, at the same time work will be dynamic, right? So generally this is a world of specialists. There are a lot of specialists coming up, and we need to transform them as generalists, right? So we need to transform them as generalists. They need to candidates should be able to take up multiple tasks, right? Adapt the dynamics which industry is having, because some other technology comes into the picture. So he or she should be continuously learning, right? So keep him or her upgraded with. However, industry, as even PW is providing them with a lot of learning resources, very few go for the learning part. So upgrading is something which is very important, and adapting is something which is very important.
Willingness.
Yes, willingness. And second thing, yes, if both adaptability and upgradation, right, skills as a candidate, if they have, right, industry is ready to pick him, right, especially. So I can give a solid example. So when we talk about rural Bharat, right, so in my last company, I have hired a candidate from rural background where he is unable to speak even the basic English,
Correct.
And he is like having a very good thought process, very hardworking. He can adapt. He's a very fast learner, right? Quick learner. He can get up, sustain himself with any changes which industry is
resilient.
Yes, right. So at that point of time, right? So we hired him. We give him the opportunity, and it's been almost 3 years, and still he's working with us right now. So even transition along with me. So as a leader, it's our responsibility, right? So when there is a resilience in the candidate, right? So we need to ensure that we are giving them with the right opportunity, and industry is doing it right now, and it's our responsibility to take up as a higher ed like institutes to provide that platform. And yes,
but I'm glad that as an industry person you accept this. And you look at it that it is a part of responsibility of the industry also to create a congenial environment where employee can sustain. Exactly. We need to look at them at all point of time. Let it be any industry, let it be academics or otherwise. So there is something which we must all look into. And correct.
Yeah, one more aspect, right, which we discussed earlier. So when I talk about like someone is saying psychology, right? So I can put it in this way: emotional intelligence, right, is something which is which should be inculcated right from K10, right? So even primary and secondary education. So from there, right from that stage, right? So emotional intelligence is something which is very important. So if that can be inculcated, this attitude issue can be resolved. So because yeah, so as a leaders, we have been working with great leaders, right? So if that emotional intelligence can be inculcated, right? So this attitude issue will be resolved.
Thank you so much, and that is also a point well taken. So I had raised few things: the skills becoming obsolete, addressed; the role of technology, addressed; the skill changing its own meaning, addressed; then collaboration and dialogue between industry and the academia, addressed; and inclusivity is also addressed. I hope, and as we are running out of the time now, and we had a very interesting discussion, I would like to thank all the panelist members for giving their opinions which were not constrained by anything, and it was absolutely free from any biases. Thank you so much, and I hope the purpose with which this panel discussion was arranged has been served. I am thankful to the organizers and all the panel members for giving me an opportunity to moderate this event. Thank you so much.
The employability paradigm, if you may also wait. I would request APAC News Network co-founder and director, Pankaj Mistry. Saurin Shah. Sunil Bulchandani. Parmeshwar Hans. Dr. Avani. Dr. Dharmesh Shah. Dr. Amit Ganatra. Dr. Anil Bisen. And for wonderful moderation, Dr. Achyut.